through healing and forgiveness. See hope in your eyes. From the start to the end, we'll find our way. Alpha and Omega, let's live, love, and pray.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Alpha and Omega. I have as a guest with me Marina Colombo.
Yes.
Yeah, Marina has just got back from a huge trip. Let me just even make sure we can see both of us together here. There we go. Yeah, she's just gotten back from a huge trip to Colombia, then Chile, then Argentina, then Brazil, back to Argentina.
It was Colombia, Chile, Brazil, Argentina, and now Mexico.
Mexico. Okay. So yeah, that's a massive trip. I don't think anybody in our ministry over the years has really gone to that many countries down in South America in one shot and come back, because you're like our Spanish representative. You speak the language, you speak English, so you can take any invite on a fly and just go with it. Whereas, David or Kirsten, like, okay, is there a translator? Da, 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 little different with the E's, and you're from there. And the line that was coming to me before this show was, "The messenger is worth his keep." And it was actually, I just looked it up in the Bible, and it said, don't take an extra cloak or a tunic or a bag, and just the sandals you wear, because a messenger is worth his keep, meaning everything that you need will be provided on the trip. And that's really a huge point and purpose of these trips, is for yourself, for us to experience like God is totally taking care of us. And sometimes it can get lost when you seem to be cared for by a house, or even a community, or parents, or a job, and Jesus, the Spirit, is like, okay, let's get out there and then shine your light, because I have so much to pour through you. And that's the true divine providence, is to be carried by God in the message. And then you get all these whims of maybe the forms being taken care of. And so I just thought, this is like our chosen, the chosen episodes where Jesus sends them out 2 by 2. And they come back with all these miracles, and they all sit around and they want to hear them. I want to hear them. So that's why I'm doing this. I haven't heard them yet. So you've been out there a little bit by yourself, a little bit with Kirsten and Paulina. So you've got a mixture of miracles. And yeah, you could share anything that you saw happen, healing around you, your own healing, miracles. Yeah, whatever comes to your mind. It's up to you. And I might have a few questions or thoughts kind of along the way.
We haven't even started. Getting emotional already. Yeah, I feel there's been so much, so much, and it's been very miraculous and very healing, and such blessing and huge love, and I have nothing but gratitude in my heart for this ever deepening journey, which keeps, I feel, getting deeper and deeper with each step that we take. And yeah, I feel at the beginning of the trip, I felt that this wave of trips, the title that came to mind when I was praying about it was A Journey with No Distance. And that's how I feel right now as I landed back in Mexico, that it was truly a journey with no distance, like in Inception. Like where they went into layers into their mind, and then they seem to come out and they're in a plane, and then they're looking at each other and they're like, with this look, like knowing, like we did it, like, okay. And I feel like I'm with Jesus here right now, same place. But there's so much that happened in my mind. It was very deep. And I always knew from the beginning that there was something that's gonna happen in Argentina, but I didn't know exactly what. Like it felt, oh, there's something that is gonna be deep, but I don't know what it's gonna be. And I feel like everything was like an opening to experience what was to come in Argentina, and then fly back to Mexico. And yeah, of all of the countries, you know, I started receiving invitations and people were saying, yeah, come to Colombia, and all these events were planned in Colombia to, yeah, retreats and talks. And same in Chile, come to Chile, all of these events were planned for me to share Jesus's teachings and all of the love. And then the trip with Brazil, and Paulina has a community there. So yeah, lot of things were planned just to share in retreats and talks and fly to different cities. But in Argentina, I was the only one that a person reached out to me and he said, what do you need to come to Argentina? And do you need plane tickets? What is it? Just tell me, and I can take care of it. And all of the other ones, the flights were gonna be covered by the events, but this one was the first one that the man said, I'll cover the tickets, and just see, be really, really open to what your time will be here. He said to me, do with your time whatever you feel. There is no obligation on anything. And he said, and you have family here, right? So probably they will want you to stay with them. But if not, we can just see. And I was like, okay, like that's how it started. And then I tried to talk to people in Argentina, see if any gatherings would be organized or take place. And my mom is part of a course group. So she said, she was the only one at the beginning, you know, we would love to have you here and share. And I was like, okay, thank you. I would love to share in your group. But other than that, like everything hit like an end road. So I just said, okay, I'm just going to drop it. I'm going to start traveling, and then we'll see what happens when I get there. And then what happened when I got 1 week before, a lady that was a friend of the man that got me the plane ticket said, oh, I heard from him that you're coming, and I would love for you to do a gathering with us on the Saturday, and I will organize it. And I was like, okay, perfect. So she took care of all of it. And then this beautiful experience happened there. Because when I arrived to Argentina on Monday, my parents went to pick me up for the airport. We are going to have dinner. My sister came. We start celebrating. My father says to me that he found out on Friday, the Friday before, that he has cancer. And he said that he didn't want to tell me because he didn't want to make me and my sister upset. But my mother said that it was really important that he did. And in that moment, I could feel so much love and gratitude for the divine timing of it all. Like, yeah, it was so perfect. As I was planning all of the trip, like seeing how it all would all laid out, it was like it was obvious that I had to be there that week, but I never knew why. I tried to move it many times or see what different configurations could there be, but none of them felt good. And it felt like I had to be there at that time. And I felt that was a deep answer to a prayer, because I prayed to Jesus so much that if I were to go to Argentina, and I would want it to feel very purposeful. And at the beginning, I was telling Jesus, are you sure you want me to go to Argentina? Like, there are no gatherings. Like, why am I going there? And then a thought came, who gives a plane ticket to another person, Marina? Like, it was me. Like, it was me all along. Like, I arranged it. Just trust. So the moment I had that conversation with my father, I felt all this love in my heart and all this gratitude for that moment. And in that conversation, he was saying to me at some point that, like, how that was just a very bad, like, this is just very bad luck for him. He does not follow Jesus's teachings or the course or anything like that. But in that moment, I said to him, what if it's not bad luck? And he replied back to me, if it's not bad luck, then what is it? And I could feel the hurt. I could feel the hurt. And so there was deep, deep silence. I did not say one word, but a question was posed. I felt the Spirit ask that question. If, maybe it's not bad luck. Maybe it's not what you think. I wasn't telling him what it was, but some like question rose up so that belief could be questioned. And all I could say after a few minutes is, Dad, I love you so much. I love you so, 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 so much. I am so grateful that you shared this with me, and I'm so grateful to be here with you right now. And that opened up a series of conversations, very deep, heartfelt conversations and connections with my father and my mother and my sister. I felt a connection I had never, ever, ever felt before, because I feel like we were joining in a very deep way, in the love and in the truth. And my mom actually did also had cancer last year, and she had colon cancer. And at that time, at that time, she really went deep inside and started praying. She does the course and found a deep connection with God. And she had this overwhelming, miraculous experience through it all, feeling like every doctor, every nurse was so helpful for her. She was finding that they were angels that were taking care of her, and they were looking at her with true empathy. She was talking how one doctor, she needed to have showers, for example, at night. But at the beginning, she needed to ask for help because she was very weak. But there was a point when she was asking for help, and a nurse or a doctor wouldn't come. So she had to really find like strength through prayer within herself. And she said, I will do this. And then she was able to stand up and have a shower and come back. And she felt all this strength and all this love within herself. And then the nurse comes in and she said, I had a shower just then. And the nurse said, yeah, I know, I heard you call, but I knew that you could do it on your own. So that's why I didn't come. And my mom just teared up in gratitude, like, thank you so much. She was seeing everything like that, like all these beautiful opportunity to find something deeper within herself, strength that is not of her own, a deeper connection in prayer. And she was seeing everything as a miracle. And even, people, she said the whole experience was so deep because my father was taking care of her and driving her. And she was saying it's so miraculous because my father would always get impatient when they were driving and when things happened. But she was saying, Marina, your father was so patient. For example, one time the tire broke down, and usually he would say like, oh, this is terrible, what's going on? He was so patient. They get out of the car and fix it, like no problem, everything's smooth, I love you, we're gonna get there. He had all the patience, and he had like all the love and strength of the Spirit that was coming through my father as he took care of my mother. Like, there is no problem, I love you, we're gonna get there. And the relationship was so beautiful during this time, like very healing and very intimate. So she was saying how all of that was a miracle in
Yeah.
itself, and all of these persons that she had resentment with, they started calling her and like just offering all of the love and all of the support. And in a call, she started crying to me, saying how wrong she was and the miracle that she was experiencing in her mind, and all of these relationships were healing. So my mother went through this experience with another perception, you know, the spirit perception of it all, and she experienced so many miracles. And she did had surgery, rays and surgery, no, X-ray, I don't know,
Radiation.
chemotherapy, the radiation for a month, and then that cleared it out. And then at the time she had to do it for 1 month, and then she looks at me and she says to me, after that month, she didn't have the results yet. She had to wait 1 month to do one final check before she was officially, you know, cleared of cancer. But at the time, 1 month went by, she didn't have the results, and we were having a call, and she says to me, Marina, I'm healed. And I said, yes, Mom, yes, you are. Like, she told me she was healed. She didn't need the results to tell her that she was healed. We were talking and she was like, enough, you know, I'm healed. And I was like, yes, 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 I will join you in that. Yes, you are. Because I felt like she was saying with so much conviction that I could not but affirm that to her, like, back. So yeah, we were talking with my father, and I said to him, during my darkest times, because my sister said, oh, Marina, I don't understand you. You're always so happy. You don't live in the real world, she said to me. You know, like, you live in some sort of cloud. And I said to my sister, well, we're like, I feel like I am very happy, but it doesn't mean that I don't go through emotions. I feel like I actually had very difficult moments in my life, but the difference is that when I felt like everything was crumbling down, when I felt despair, and when I felt lack of hope, I had to reach within myself and I prayed, and I found a strength that is not of my own, and that strength carried me and has carried me through every difficult situation that I seem to go through as emotions come up, and as I'm following this path from the darkness to the light. You know, I feel like I had dark nights of the soul, but yeah, they all. But on those times, if I had thought that I was on my own, I don't know if I had made it through. But I prayed, and a strength pulled me out of it, and it keeps pulling me out of it. And I do go through emotions. And then when I said that, my mom said, "Yes, Marina, I found the same." I found last year when I was going through all of the surgeries, it was a strength that was not my own. It was the strength of God. And we can find strength through prayer. And then my dad says, I agree. I agree. And I was like, what? Like, my father saying, I agree, like, to this. And I was like, oh, wow, like, this is why I'm here. This is why I'm here. And the next day, my father had to go do some exams. He has eye cancer, and they had to check whether he could do something like a radiotherapy that would clear it out, or he has to have an operation, but he would lose an eye. And also see if it's just focused on the eye or if it had done metastasis somewhere else. So he had to go do all of the checks just to see what the situation was. And when he went for surgery for the test with my mom, I actually got pulled very deep into silence and meditation and prayer. And I felt I was just joined with him in prayer, in love. I felt God's presence so strong in my mind, and all I could feel and think is, I love you. I love you. I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you. I stayed there for 1 hour, And I felt like my father was praying in that same moment with me, and that we were joined in that prayer and in spirit, and we were together. And then he comes out of that, and he said that he received part of the results, but which were difficult for him to hear, because they said that it had spread a little bit too much, so he could not have radiotherapy, so he would have to have the surgery, and so as minimum he would lose the eye. So he was moving through I didn't see him with emotions come up, but I knew that he was going through internally through emotions, or yeah. But the doctor said to her, or the lady that did the analysis said to her, don't waste any more time. Like, you need to do the surgery, just move ahead with it. And it was so direct. And my father really was able to take the direction, and said, I feel, yeah, he needed to move with it. Don't delay, like, accept this. And I feel like it was the spirit, like, just talking straight, like to him. Yeah, there is no need for you to keep analyzing all of these options. He was, because it's not a matter of if whether he should do it or not, or what alternatives are. It's like, it spread too much, you need to have the surgery, so just move forward. And then yeah, we were talking about it, and he said to me, thank you so much, Marina, because I feel like all of the conversations that we're having have been very, very helpful to me to go through this with another perspective and with more certainty. I feel so much better with you here, and like having you here, with everything that's happening. And in that moment, I felt so much gratitude for forgiveness, for this path, for healing, for Jesus, for the love that I feel in my heart. And I feel in that moment, I felt, of all of the gifts that I could have given, this is the deepest, biggest gift that I could have ever given and received for myself. And then I also thought, thank you, Jesus, because there was a time when I was given the steps, to leave Argentina, come to Mexico, and then there was a lingering thought of the ego. Oh, maybe there is sacrifice, maybe you'll lose something, and you don't know how this is all gonna go, and you're abandoning them, and and then I went through all of this healing, and then I could see there, when I'm healed, I'm not healed alone. Love doesn't leave anyone behind. Love includes absolutely everyone. And actually, I was doing the biggest thing that I could have ever done for them, which is to offer them this way of looking at the world, this purpose for the world. I said to Dad in one of the conversations, I said, if this is just bad luck, then there is no purpose to it, and then there is no meaning, and then you like, the only thing that follows from that is depression. But maybe there is a purpose for this. If you can find something stronger within your heart, a connection, a love, something you have never felt before, then everything will have meaning. It will have a purpose. And he accepted that, and I felt so connected and joined with him in that. And yeah, I feel like that is the biggest gift that I could ever give and that I could ever receive. So I felt so much gratitude for this path of forgiveness. Forgiveness offers everything I want, and forgiveness is the key to happiness. And yeah, so
even for your dad to say, to hear your perspective and honor it and be grateful. It's almost, to me, I hear it as like he's trusted you and loved you all along, and yet this provided the opportunity for him to verbalize it and accept it or something. Like it's really cool.
Yeah, it was very beautiful, and I feel, you know, an opportunity for him to look within into what is really valuable. He was saying, yeah, nothing really, you receive information like this, and then you go really deep within, and then you see what doesn't really matter. Like nothing really matters. It puts everything into perspective. And I was like, yes, yes, there, and then it started opening this idea. Oh, maybe there is a gift behind it. Maybe it's not a curse. Maybe it's not bad luck. Maybe there is a gift to this.
Yeah.
If you see it that way, it's a purpose that we give. Yeah, it's the purpose that we give to it. And yeah, it was so beautiful because on one of the last conversations that we had, I was trying to thank him for everything that he had given me. And in one moment he said, oh, I did it because I had to. It was my obligation. Like to pay, like, for example, pay all of the schools he did and university and trips. And I was so firm with him. I was like, no, you didn't do it because you had to. You did it because you love me. You love me so much. You didn't have to do any of that. You did it because you love me. And in that moment, his eyes teared up. And I never saw him cry ever. And, you know, tears started dropping and I could feel it. You know, I could feel it. Like, yes, thank you. Like, you know, like those are just things that you tell yourself, your defenses. I did it because I have to. Obstacles to really like say, I love you. And then in that moment, I felt he was saying to me, I love you. And I was like, thank you. I love you back. I love you back. And I felt it's forgiven. It's forgiven. Like we're really joined. The past is gone. It can touch me now. We're really joined in this moment. And I will never forget that moment. It was so deep. And then I'm looking back, you know, at all everything that happened there, and I am just so grateful of all of the weeks. That was the one perfect week to go there. And then what happened is he received the final results of all of the rest of his studies, and all of the rest is good. It's just focused in the eye, and it's just a little bit bigger, so he cannot do chemotherapy, but he will have an operation, and then he will lose an eye, but you know, that's it. It's like, that's it.
From the miracle, that's it, you know. Like...
Yes, and I was like, okay, that's great news, Dad. That's a miracle. And then he was in a conversation. He was saying to me, you know, oh, maybe like something could have been different because he started seeing a little bit foggy before, and the doctors didn't catch it. So a month went by, and then in my heart, it was the script is written. Like nothing could have gone differently, but I couldn't say that to him. But I said, I don't think anything could have been different as how it actually is. I knew in February that I would be here for this 1 week. So it was going to happen. The only difference is that I was here with you throughout it all, as he needed to take the next step, which is to go into surgery. And then the most beautiful thing happened. I arrived here. He tells me that he needs to have the surgery. And then my mom said, yes, I went to the doctor with him and I had some emotion, but then I accepted it. And then that night, Marina, we went into prayer together. They prayed together. I was like, that's a miracle. They're like their relationship, you know, like they're praying together like that. Like I so much love. And I was just watching at the wonder of it all, like, wow, like, and I felt, oh, that must be that must be really good, so that you feel like you're connected and that you're not on your own, and that there is a strength that it's not on your own. And that's, my father said, yes, Marina, it has been so, so helpful. Thank you so much. And in a text before, he had also said to me, thank you for everything that you've given while you were here. And, I didn't give anything material. It's just like, but he felt like I have given, and I felt like I have received so much. So I was like, whoa, this has been so, so deep, so many miracles. And then on the other side, my mom experienced all these other miracles as well, because I got at in my relationship with my mother as well, because with my mother, she studies the course and she is part of a group. So I went to their group on Thursday, and I go there. I have no idea what I'm gonna speak about, but then from the moment I sat down, everything that came out was about true empathy, first and foremost, purpose and forgiveness. And it was so deep. Like, I felt so much love, so much presence. I couldn't stop speaking. Like, it just came in waves and waves, and all of these people were having emotions all around me. And at the end of it, I received so much love and gratitude from everyone, but mostly I felt so much love. I was so high in love. And my mom after it was like, Marina, I was so miraculous. I was so perfect. That was all I needed to hear. And I was like, that was just the spirit, coming through also for me, but for my mother as well, as she needs to take the next steps with my father and really seeing him with true empathy and joining with him in true empathy. And I feel like that was my dad's biggest prayer, because in another conversation, he said he didn't want people to feel sorry for him. And I was like, I will always see you the same. I know who you are, and I will treat you the same. That's the end of it. And like, my mom was hearing all of this, and she was so grateful. Like, you have given me all the tools that I needed. And and then, and then we had more miracles on the Saturday. We went to the gathering, and again, like, there was so much
You're
depth,
like,
love and
you're
joy.
undoing the idea that a prophet is not welcome in his own hometown. You are very welcome.
I was very welcomed. And then at the end of that second, like, of all of the countries, I was like, in Argentina, there are no gatherings, and probably like no funds will come in. And then people at the end of that second talk were like giving donations left to right, and I had more donations than the other countries. And I was like, oh my God, all this love, like all this giving. I felt like all of this giving and receiving, like giving and receiving, and this deep experience. And then and my mom was so happy, and another friend was the one that was driving us, and she also was like, so in the purpose, I'll drive you, I'll cover the cost of the driving. And she was like, Marina, having you here was a whole experience. And she was having her own grateful experience. I was like, whoa, like, this has been truly amazing, truly miraculous, truly purposeful. And I was just seeing how Jesus answered my prayer in so many ways in just 1 week, like a relationship with my father, my mother, like healing and joining and love, and my sister too. Like, she was opening to these ideas as well, which they never did, my father and my sister, but this time they did. And my sister was also, I saw her so transformed. She's like, yeah, Marina, here, have some funds, like what you need, like for whatever I needed during my time there. Like, she was like just wanting to give. And then she gave me some funds for me to take care of some things that I needed. And then at night she comes back and she says, Marina, no, to my whole family, I received a bonus at work. I was like, "Oh, Jesus, there is no loss here." My sister says to me, "I cover your fans," and then it's like, there is abundance. And she was like, let's just all go out and celebrate, and it's on me. And even that for my father, because my dad is always like, "No, I pay. And my sister, I want to give. And my dad had to stop and receive. Like, he is like a lesson on receiving for my father right now. But yeah, so it feels like everything got transformed in my perception, and I join them in so much love. And that is a miracle, and I am forever grateful. I am forever grateful, and ever increasing appreciation for this path of forgiveness. Yes, and Jesus's guidance, and he gives us so many blessings. There is even one like little synchronicity that I felt it was beautiful, because on Saturday I gave all of the talk, and a lady comes right after, because I was sharing how God's plan is bigger than our own plan for ourselves, and his plan has many more gifts that we could ever imagine. And then at the end of the talk, she said to me, "Oh, look what my daughter just sent to me." And it's a little photo with, I see if I find it, with a sunflower. And that photo I had seen 2 days before on Instagram. And I, for some reason, took a photo of it. And I didn't know why. Like, I kept a record of it on my phone. And I said, "I have exactly the same photo." And she was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe this. This feels so deep for me." Like a true answer. Like he's speaking to me, like something is connected. And I was like, it was just Jesus. I didn't do anything.
What does it say? What does it say?
It says, like, it's a small sunflower, and one of them is like here I
You
found
can
it.
show us. You can show the
Yeah.
picture, and then probably in Spanish. Oh, I
No, it's
see.
in English. It's my wish
Okay.
and God's plan.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, like everyone was just experiencing, like, yeah, so many miracles and answers and synchronicities. There were, yeah, even on the Friday I was there too. The man that bought the ticket for me said, "Oh, I would love to go to lunch with you. I'll take my mother." And then I went with my mother as well. And then I get there, and her sister, which is also called Marina, was there. And then I started sharing about my path. And at the end of it, she was just so grateful. She was like, "You have no idea all of the answers I have received. This is just what I needed to hear." And so everything was a miracle. Like, all of everything, every day was so purposeful with so many miracles. And that was just the culmination. But everything was opening up my mind for that moment. All of the forgiveness in Chile, all of the time in Brazil with Kirsten, and the depth of Jesus's presence and teachings. Like, there was one gathering in Brazil that it was about true empathy, and I felt like it was for me to receive, and then give it away. Like, okay, you received it all, now put it into practice. And I felt, yeah, that how amazing God's plan is. Like when you see it, like all of the pieces, how they all work together, and everything to keep releasing what is beliefs that are not true, and find what's really true in our heart, like find the love of God in our heart, like, and keep releasing, and our heart expands, and there's so much joy and so much love, and I'm just so very grateful. And the most beautiful thing is that when my father prayed with my mother that day at night before they went to sleep, they prayed because he had to make the decision of whether he would get operated or if he would go to the a fifth doctor consultation and because just to check, you know. And then he's like, in that morning he wakes up and he says, I won't go to that doctor. I already know the answer. I need to have this surgery. And he said there was so much peace. Like, get it to that point, it felt like you needed a lot of prayer, but when the decision was made, there was this deep peace and acceptance. And yeah, I was
Like,
touched with
I have this kind of a little vision in my mind of like we're walking backwards on a beach with a big brush, like a sweeping brush, and we're wiping away our footsteps like we were like we were never there or something in the first place. But the sweeping is just as important as the steps, but it all just disappears. And it's not exactly, you know, the footsteps in the sand prayer where the guy says he was walking along with Jesus and then only 1 foot of steps went for a while, and he said to Jesus, why did you leave me alone during the most difficult times? And he said, oh, my brother, I didn't leave you alone. That's where I carried you. But somehow a mixture of that and then even washing away all the footsteps. It's like the journey's backwards. It just goes backwards to heaven. Yeah, it's kind of cool. Like we just do not know this journey at all, what it's for, what you think. Every desire gets washed away, and yet through the miracles, like you just described, you could never have planned for this, you know.
Yeah, it does feel like that. Like everything is being washed away. Like I'm here again, and like the past has erased. But yeah, like yeah.
He does say time goes backwards, like, and the carpet rolls up for you, and time doesn't go forward, but it goes backwards to the way I feel it is like the ancient holy instant, which is now. It's here now, and yeah.
Yeah. Letting go. What was going? It's like, yeah, it's a letting go of what never was.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
yes, that's it.
That's it.
Yeah. Like I heard David say many times, yeah, you cannot take your accomplishments with you. Like, oh, I did this and this and this.
Yeah.
It's like, no, like you use the world, but to undo the world, to undo who you think you are, not to build you up, but to release what it never was. And in that sense, it just goes backwards. Like you use everything, but just to release it.
Yeah.
It's just like,
what a trick, eh? The forward movement and ambition. It's like, it's sure the spirit can use it all, but what a trick that you think you're doing that when it's all this way.
So that way, even like, you know, yeah, like seeming moving countries and, you know, like giving talks and everything, but like as if I'm doing forward movement, but actually it's taking me to release.
And you don't know what you need for release, so what's the point in effort, you know? That's what I was thinking about, like before this talk, was like the difference between effort and like working, like reciprocity, work to get money to do what you want to do or survive even. You know, maybe if you have more ambitions than survival, it's like to live a very full life. But there's this time element and doing for something, and you know, your trip and these trips, our trips out, it's like it totally does that idea, because one of the classic stories I always love is David said he was traveling with someone and she loved salmon, and they just started out on the trip, and every place for 5 nights that they went to, the people just kept offering and making salmon, and she was like, what is going on? And finally it hit her, oh, this is God just loving me. But David said, what a difference between doing that and working to get enough money to go buy yourself 5 salmon dinners. There's no comparison in that experience, because one is God's loving you and the other is keeping the personal alive or something like that. So
Mm. Mm. Yes. And yeah. Yeah, it does require. I'm like, oh, yeah. I feel like my faith and trust, it requires a lot of faith and trust. Like, this is so different. This is so different to what the past has taught me. So it's a never increasing faith, a never increasing trust in God's plan for me, and trusting that His will for me is perfect happiness, and that my will is His will as I accept His plan for me. And like that little flower, my wish, like a little flower, like this is what I want, and Jesus has a much deeper plan. And yeah, trusting that He knows what I need to heal. I just need to accept the means that He's given me, not think that I already know the means, but accept the means.
That's what's beautiful being on the road, like, is the means seem to be much more obvious. Like, you might have to pray about, do I go to this country, or is that invite a strong invite? There's nuances, but they seem to be like bam. Whereas when you're in a house or in like, let's say, a normal, they don't always, I mean, but that's the practice, is to actually then be open to the nuances in, let's say, community life or everyday life. Like, okay, he's still working with me out there, maybe it's the same thing here, but just a little different, a little more nuanced or something. But yeah, that's the beautiful thing about on the road, is you just get really slammed and hammered with miracles.
I feel like, yeah, it's a transfer, of training. I feel like it's a transfer of training, and then just acceptance of whatever is given. Like, where I was moving is like one country, a different country, a different country, different locations within the countries, different people. And it's like, okay, accept what is coming, accept what's coming. And then I come back. I arrived Tuesday night on what, like 12 p.m. Then on Wednesday, I unpack and shower and put everything in its place. And on Thursday, it's like Mystical Christ Academy in Spanish, and like the Spanish ministry, and I'm like, whoa, okay, like I will accept, and I will keep my mind open, and I will transfer everything I've learned.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, okay, I'm gonna have faith. I'm gonna have trust.
Yeah.
I'm gonna like everything that God gives us is for happiness. And we
Well,
don't know what the plan is, but
it's
He
like you
knows.
said, God, what was it opened up with? You said you really didn't go anywhere. It was all in the mind. Like, God's son is not a traveler through time and space. So it may seem like the body's now sitting for, I guess, 2 months while you run MCA, but the experience of the healing can still be that backwards feeling, or time going backwards. That's kind of, yeah. But the body's not moving to countries. That's amazing. Now the people are coming to you through Zoom. So do you feel any other, I guess we could say, miracles in form that come to your mind or play out? Or, I mean, that's a lot of. I'm a little curious. What was Chile like? Because I don't know. We've heard any reports of Chile, but I don't know if that's in your heart or not.
I don't know, maybe because I there is one that is coming to my mind that it ties up with what we shared of everything that happened in Argentina. But then I'm like, oh, I'm not so sure whether to share this with everyone.
You go for it. We can edit it out if it's no good.
But yeah, I feel one of the deepest things that happen in Chile, first I felt so loved, so carried by the spirit, but there were so many things planned, so many talks, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday too, then go like in different cities. So it was like an explosion. I arrived on Tuesday, and on Wednesday we had one online on Santiago, and then on Friday we go to Viña del Mar. On the evening we have a session, and then Sunday, Monday too, and then on Tuesday we go back to Santiago. Wednesday we have the last one. On Thursday I fly out. So it was like this whoosh of light coming through my mind, and it was a great deepening in my faith and trust in the spirit, because I seemingly am speaking by myself, and how is it all gonna work, and what is gonna be said, but then I was there, and everything came poured through, and every gathering was so deep, and deep experiences of forgiveness all around me. And I actually used Spirit AI, the chatbot, and on Sunday, and deep release. Then on Monday, deep release, like powerful, those that you feel that something shifted, and deep presence. Then I did it on a one-on-one with someone, deep release, and she was so happy. She was the daughter of the woman that hosted me in her house, and she was saying, Jesus healed me, Jesus healed me. And the mother was overflowing with gratitude, like of all the things that I would pray for, like seeing my daughter like this. And I was just I was just watching. Obviously, it was Jesus doing it all, but but yeah, all these deep forgiveness lessons and deep experiences of release and love, and all of these gatherings and truth and light, and I had my own forgiveness. And I felt, again, I was there seemingly, giving talks, and all this forgiveness was happening, but I felt like it was all for me. It was all for me, and it was to prepare me for what was to come in Argentina. And there was, so that I could love when I was in Argentina, so that I could release the past. And I didn't have to do it with my family. Jesus gave me exactly what I needed for me to release. And so that and then gave me Brazil for true empathy. And then when I arrived to Argentina, it was clean. Like my mind was clean, so that I could really love. And yeah, when I was in Chile, there was, on Friday, I felt so high in the gathering. There was so much love, so much love. And then in one moment, as I was speaking, I felt like I was speaking to the lady that had organized all the events. And then something started shifting, like my heart started closing up. And then I was like, oh no, what is going on? And then the energy seemed to drop. And then it was the end of the gathering. We had already been there for, a long time. So it felt like, okay, concluded. Like I'm ready to process this. And then a woman gives her a card, like she had a Course in Miracles card, to the host. And when the card comes out, it says guilt. You're experiencing guilt. Apparently, that card was given to the woman. But I was listening. I was in that same, and I was like, why am I experiencing guilt? Like, Jesus, like, help me out here. I have no idea. So I gave that over to the Spirit. And then on Saturday, we had a gathering. So the Spirit I was very happy in the morning. The Spirit came out. But it was all about forgiveness. And I did a meditation. And what came through was we will allow whatever is in our consciousness to come up for forgiveness. And Jesus will use everything right now to show us what that is and the rest of the day. And then a lot of, miracles and healing and beautiful gathering. And then I go back to have lunch with everyone. And then the host, again, there was a table of 4 of us, the closest to us that were helping organize everything. And she gives cards, again, of A Course in Miracles. And the one that I receive is, the holiest place on earth is where an ancient hatred becomes a present love. And I could feel Jesus is telling me I need to forgive. I have no idea what. And I said that I feel Jesus is telling me I need to forgive. I just don't know what. And I went deep into prayer. And then the lady that had organized all of this says to me, well, Marina, we're all and then another card that had came out was, your brother is the reflection of what you have them be, or I don't know exactly how it is in English, but your brother is a reflection of what you believe. We're all reflections. And then I was like, I could see it. I saw my mother in her. And I could see her and her relationship with the husband. Like I could see my family, like my mother and my father. And then I could see it. I was judging her. I was judging her because I was seeing my mother. And the thought around it is, why did you stay? Why did you stay in the relationship with my father? Why didn't you leave him? Like, what are you doing with him? Like, and then Karen started channelizing and started saying, like, it felt like, in my other self when they're doing family constellations. And it felt like we were doing family constellations with each other, because I felt like I was talking to my mother. Like I started speaking as if I was speaking to my mother, and she was speaking back saying that he was with him because she loved him. And in that moment, I could really receive it. It's like, it's love, it's love, it's love, it's love. It has always been love. I was mistaken. It was my erroneous perception. Love was guiding everything, every moment. And it was love guiding that relationship. And it was like something really, truly released from my mind in that moment. But I could feel like something had quite not finished. But I left it there, and on the way back from Viña del Mar to Santiago, I was praying to Jesus, and I said to Jesus, I feel the relationship or that with my mother is healed, but I still have something to with my father. And on the way back in the car, I was praying, Jesus, what is it? What is it? And then the thought came, infidelity. And then I saw, just as I was having that thought, a huge bus right next to us that said huge at the back, God is faithful. And I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. And then I started seeing like all of the judgments I had with the situation with my mother and my father, and how I had perceived it all. And like I did not hide one thing from my mind. It just all came up like in my awareness. I saw all of the thoughts until I got back to, I love you. Like there's so much love. I was wrong. Once again, I was wrong. I was wrong about my perception. Who am I to judge? I can judge nothing. I can judge nothing. My father only needs love. I can love him. And so it was, it was a huge release. Like there was this unforgiven thought in my mind that I thought, okay, I forgave it, it's in the past, but I could see it was not, and it was all gone. It was all gone. By the time I got to Argentina, there was no trace, like I was, and then it culminates with them both praying together, like they are both praying together, and I was like, it's healed, it's done.
That's so
There's only
beautiful.
love. So
Beautiful.
yeah.
I was wondering if what helped prepare you for that, and so you just gave the backstory. That's beautiful. Yeah, it feels important.
Yeah. It's like then seeing how all the pieces came together.
Yeah. Wow. That's how I always looked at it. Like, our mighty companions, the ones that are given to us kind of more on a sustained basis for, let's say, a few years. That's where the deeper healing goes, and the nuances and the forgiveness. And then the road does provide many forgiveness opportunities, but it's almost like you get into this strength of extension more than anything. And then it's like you come back home, wash, or these experiences like with your host, that's what's really this is all about. And
She had a really strong, she had so many close groups, and I could feel like a strong presence of the spirit. Like she could see me. She could see, like, even like, yeah, she could really hold it, like she was holding the space for me, and then all of the healing that was going on with everyone else, and all the gatherings and everything else. But your spirit gave me the perfect one, the perfect one. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Oh wow, it's beautiful. Yeah, we'll call this one part 2. We'll do part 1, and then we'll just, so that people know they need to
They need to finish this. They need to finish it off.
Wow. Yeah, Melly and her peer, 2 other members of our community. They're down in Lima right now, but I think they're going to Chile next, actually. So that's funny. They're going to Chile after you. They have some invite, and then either to Uruguay or Brazil. They're still sorting that out, but it's funny. It's like you guys are all floating around down there in South America.
Seeing how everything unfolds.
Yeah. And so you had very beautiful deep time with Paulina and Kirsten in Brazil, and all the miracles with Luis, and anything strongly come to your mind from any of that, or is that just a blur now?
Right now it's a blur, I think. Yeah. Well, the actually the first retreat was on Divine Providence. But in that retreat, there was one girl that wanted to do the levels of mind. And when she came up to do the levels of mind, it was all about the relationship with the father. Like it was all about and I was like, again, like
Like your whole trip is for this one moment.
For the relationship with my father. Both fathers. So everything was, it was all for me, at the end of it. I was like, wow, it was all for I was sharing, but it was all for me.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that's beautiful, Marina. Yeah, let's just call this part 2. I just love it how you get right to the heart of everything, and it was for you and for everybody. And yeah, I'm so grateful that you got this opportunity to go out and shine your light like that. It's a blessing for us all, and thank you for your contribution and being willing to do it, because it's a big thing, you know, and you're probably ready for the next one. But first MCA, and then wow, we sure covered a lot.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, thank you so much for doing with me and sharing the healing with everybody. And this is what I want Alpha and Omega to be, just a live healing to the extent we can, and lots of miracles. So I look forward to you being on another show. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jason. I'm looking forward to joining with you anytime.
Bye.
Together we'll rise through healing and forgiveness. See hope in your eyes. From the start to the end, we'll find our way. Alpha and Omega, let's live, love, and pray. Every step we take, every tear we dry, in this journey of faith, together we'll fly. Alpha and Omega, let the past be gone. In the warmth of forgiveness, our spirit is strong. So tell me your troubles, let's make them disappear. With healing and forgiveness, we'll conquer every fear. Alpha and Omega, where hearts intertwine. In the light of awakening, our souls will shine.